it's Ben and Drew from the Third and Goal podcast, and today we have got ourselves a little bit of a YouTube video that we're going to film. We're going to sit down, and we're going to talk about some things that we want to see in the new NCAA video game, a little bit of a wish list from the boys over here at Third and Goal. Not a full-length podcast, just another piece of content to help you through your week. All of that and more coming up in a Third and Goal YouTube video. So as I said, a Third and Goal YouTube video that we're very excited for, Mr. Clay. We've got a wish list of NCAA 24 football items, and as the game was announced 3 years ago, yesterday or 3 years ago on the first day of February, whenever you are seeing this, it's been about 3 years since the game was announced to be released, and so today we're bringing some excitement back into your week. We're talking about some things that we want to see on the game. Make sure you see it, you agree with what we're saying, subscribe to the channel. We want some more subscribers, and tap into our weekly podcast over on Spotify or Apple Music, and let us know down below other things that you want to see into the game, and all of that good stuff. But we will go ahead and kick it off. I'll start. I'm going to start with my number one, and that's going to be interchangeable broadcasting crews, Mr. Clay.
Yeah.
I think the ability, and if you go back to NCAA 10, we saw EA Sports do it there. And you could change the broadcast style from CBS to ESPN. And I know they're announced that Madden, Charles Davis announced that maybe Madden was going to have an interchangeable broadcasting crew for next year. And so now there's speculations that the NCAA football video game might do that as well. So EA College Sports, I'm hoping that they do the exact same thing that they did in NCAA Basketball 10. Changed it from Gus Johnson to Brad Nessler to Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler and that crew. And for different conferences have different ties and all the media rights stuff that's been going on. I think that'd be really relevant to what's been going on in the actual college football world and all that good stuff. So Ben, the consensus number one from Third and Goal on the wish list so far is just number one, interchangeable broadcasting crews.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect thing to want. It's something where if you play Madden nowadays, you get tired of hearing the same voice, and it doesn't even have to be like every famous person. Just a different voice, a different thing to hear is always better.
But for the wish list, for what I want and what I would love to play, at the top of my wish list right now, and this is in no specific order, but really in my mind, this is one of those top things up there, is interchangeable broadcasting crews. Ben, you've got our number two here.
Number two is going to be a thing that they might not add to the game because I feel like it has some problems with it. But I'm thinking of having a team builder. So you can make your own team.
Woo!
That'd just be something really cool to add in. You can make your own team. You can do certain things with it. Having the ability to create your own team, change the name, make it your very own is something that'd be super cool. And I kind of like that. It would add an aspect to where it's yours. It's everything you're doing. It's your own dynasty. And it's something I'd do more often than not. Obviously, rebuilding teams is fun, but it's your own team this time.
Yeah, I know NCAA 14 certainly had that feature. I know that was a lot of fun. I know that, now, once that game kind of went out of use, a lot of people took it over and did team builder series. And I know, the UGF Pandas for, Not the Expert. And I know Bordeaux College Football right now is doing the Grand Rapids series. And it just makes for a lot of fun content and makes a new love for a program that obviously is fictional and doesn't exist, but can have those fire uniforms and join the conferences and make it realistic with a new program. And if they do include online play or cross-platform play for the dynasty and stuff, you can play each other's schools, and that just adds a whole new aspect of a game that when you get tired because you've been playing the game for 3 weeks on end, you can add something new and obviously dive into the team builder stuff and kind of create your own little thing. Okay. So number two was team builder. Number one was the interchangeable broadcasting crews. Let's get to number three, and that's going to be a field rush, dude. A field rush.
That'd be cool.
Would be absolutely phenomenal. And as we get down the list, I think sliders are going to be important, and being able to change how much field rushing happens and change and when we get down the list, I'll explain that a little bit more as well. But field rushing is phenomenal. I know a lot of people think right now that it's overblown and anybody field rushes or court rushes in college basketball, but dude, it's part of the game. It's part of the college experience. And I was lucky enough. We rushed the field at Notre Dame when I was at that game when we played when they played USC. And dude, it was like one of the best experiences of my life. You know what I mean? So I think it's a lot of fun. I think, if you're a small school and let's say you're Colorado State and you beat Colorado at home, like being able to see your fans rush the field and maybe you get like an XP boost or like a morale boost, or you're a big school, you get upset and then their fans rush the field on you. Like it just adds a realistic aspect of the game, and it's just a staple in college football, honestly. It's a lot of fun in today's game. And I think if we're making a game that is like relevant to today's college football, a lot of fans and a lot of younger fans and fans across the board are going to love that feature, and they love it in real life. So I think that's the easy one. Field rushing would be absolutely huge.
Right, like you said, I mean, it has its problems, but that'd be the coolest thing to put in the game. It's like, but it's also like, what animations? Is it going to be the same animation every time? They can't. It's got to be an animation thing. It can't just happen.
Yeah.
So it'll be something weird. But the field rush would just be so cool. It really would add the aspect to actually beating a good team, and it's way more enjoyable, just like it is now.
And obviously in NCAA 14 or even now in revamped, just because they kind of just like, they didn't change the animations or anything, they just revamped the game in general. But those animations where you'll like beat a good team and the game's just over. You know what I mean? Like you yourself gets like, you're like, oh, that was fire, but like the game doesn't really recognize that you just pulled off a tremendous
you're just
upset.
Like, it's the same thing.
Right.
You're like jogging off the field and you like high five.
Other than like you played in the ESPN Instant Classic, which is awesome. Like you also want to be able to like experience what it would be like if you were actually a coach, as like likely, or I guess as real life as it can possibly be. So that's my number 3 is field rushing.
Number 4, it's going to be similar to my last one, but on a lower level. It's going to be FCS teams. I would love for FCS teams to be involved. They had it in 14, but it was like FCS Southeast and some random thing. But having FCS teams involved would be amazing. Like I also said, rebuilding them would be something really cool. I don't know to what extent they'd have FCS teams. Like it's not, you cannot put every FCS team in the game. Yeah. NIL would be a problem. But having like 5 or 6 would be super cool to put in. You could obviously play your friends with FCS teams. I think I could. That might have to be a video. Drew uses them, and I use FCS team. But I'd probably put words. That's a bit bold.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a bit bold.
Yeah.
I think FCS teams into the game would be super cool. Good for the fans. That's gonna be our number 4.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good consensus number 4, because I agree with it. Right. I mean, I think that the sweet number there would be 8. I think, because I think they do like a more like actual playoff structure like they do in the NFL and stuff. They have seeds, and the one plays the 4 and like all that stuff. That's how the FCS does their brackets and stuff. So I think if you put 8 teams in there, and then while the college football playoff is going on or whatever, the FCS playoffs are going on at the same time, I think that'd be pretty cool just for the dynasty aspect. Like you check in the news section and the FCS playoffs have included or whatever.
Definitely.
And so I don't know, like you said, Ben, the licensing rights on that would be rough. The NIL and stuff would be rough because they're already like, players are complaining about the amount of money they're getting. And I've also seen players that have said, dude, just put me in the game. That would be enough for me. It would be fun to rebuild those teams in a very competitive FBS, win the FCS championship, maybe move up the ranks and relegate a smaller school down to the FCS again, or whatever it is. There's just so much content and so much fun stuff you can do with that and with the FCS teams in the game. So I agree. But I think that the NIL and the transfer portal being incorporated into this game is obviously going to be super important. Yeah. I think the transfer portal frequency is another thing that when I mentioned sliders earlier in the video, this is kind of what I was talking about, right? Being able to slide like the transfer portal frequency, right? And so like for college football, the new like wave of EA Sports college football guys who hop on the YouTube train and do videos on it, like they can do a video where they turn the slider up to 100 and like everybody's in the portal in the offseason. You can turn it down to 0 and have it like the old way, you know what I mean? So there can be a happy medium and stuff, but I think that'd be a good feature, just being able to kind of control how much portal we see. Put it at like 50 is kind of what we're seeing in real life, which is obviously a decent amount anyways. I would say that's probably like 70.
60-40,
yeah, because we're seeing a lot of that now. But either way, I think that the transfer portal's got to be incorporated. Having the booster clubs and having all that stuff incorporated when recruiting a player. If you want to go like the 2K route, like the My GM route, where there's cutscenes and you're meeting with the booster clubs, and like that's just the new age stuff that's happening with the head coach. And so if you hop into a dynasty and there's cutscenes where you're meeting with this recruit or you're meeting with this booster club to get the money for, like, all that stuff is just that's the new age. You know what I mean? And I think that'd be cool if that's incorporated.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I think it's something that's going to be needed to be added with restrictions.
Yeah.
I don't think NIL will be unlimited. I don't think anything like that. I'm interested to see what teams will have. whether it be a super lower group of 5 team compared to Texas A&M, who has a lot more money.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see what they'll do about that. It's probably going to be ended up like, I don't even know, like if it's like a salary cap, like in 2K or some Madden game, like you can only spend this much, and it's there.
Yeah.
Or they make it somewhere it's like you can give this much to a player, which will add to his want to go to your school.
Yeah.
But obviously, like, you have a certain amount. So is why the setback was so large. Like, there's so many things that have happened in these last 3 years of college football that you could have just never guessed for.
Yep.
So, NIL, transfer portal, I think there's going to be restrictions behind those two things, but it'll be great to add in the game. Seeing new players on new teams, getting new players from old teams. It'll be something cool to do dynasty-wise, and if you just are looking around the league. Last, number 6 on the consensus list for NCAA 24 wish list is change the number of playoff teams. I feel like it'd be cool to either have 12 or more. Below 12, you can kind of come back. You can throw it back to like 2018 where there was 4 teams or something like that. I think that'd be cool to do. I think it'd add a different aspect to where, hey, you've got to play a lot better. You've got to be top 4 in the country to do things, or top 2. You could even make that. So I think that'd be cool, or add it up. I mean, I'm not saying 133 team bracket, but like that'd be cool to have where it's like a whole March Madness.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
College football March Madness. So I think having teams outside of 12 would be cool, and I think it definitely add a different aspect to the game.
Honorable mention, extra. Mine would be, you know how 2K just incorporated the My NBA eras where you can go in and, dude, and college football eras, obviously,
that'd be so hard to do.
It's never going to happen. It's something that, especially with the NIL and the money thing that they're already struggling with, paying all these players the right amount of money and getting the licensing rights to all these schools, it would be tough. And, I mean, you talk about getting the throwback jerseys for these teams, and, like, it would just be an extra hurdle that EA would have to go over, and obviously we've heard no rumblings of it. And it would basically be a ripoff of 2K anyways, which I don't think they're interested in. But, I mean, you talk about, like, you can go back to 2005 and at the very least have, like, a Moments thing where you can go back to 2005 and, like, play the Rose Bowl between USC and Texas and try and, you know, get a stop as USC, you know what I mean, instead of letting Vince Young run for that touchdown. Something like that. Something along those lines where you can go back in time, go back to big moments in college football, replay the kick 6 as Alabama and get a tackle, or, you know, something like that. And that might be something that we see incorporated, especially those little moments in, like, Ultimate Team, when you're talking about, like, the quest and the challenges that you have to complete and all that.
That's something like, okay, those players will probably have to be in the game due to Ultimate Team. Like, you can't have Ultimate Team without players like Reggie Bush or something where he's going to be in the game. I don't know about Reggie Bush. That's a bad one because he cheated. But that was a bad example. But a guy like a Baker Mayfield, like, he needs to be in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
And also adding on that, though, there will always be community rosters. There will always be a roster you can download. On Madden now, you can virtually download the whole NCAA game.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be something that'll also be in the game. There 100% will be a thing like 2020 college football, and you can probably add that in.
Yeah, I mean, I think something along those lines where you can go back in time, kind of relive those moments. I mean, even in NCAA 14, they had, like, the Heisman challenge where you would, like, go in as Robert Griffin III and play a whole entire season. Like, I feel like that would just be fire because, I mean, you could add in, like, Joe Burrow 2019. You replay his entire season, and it's not like I'm going to sit there and grind that game mode, but it just makes you feel like you have options. Yeah. It doesn't get super boring. You can hop into that game mode and challenge your friends so you can do better. Like, there's so many options with stuff like that, and it kind of lets you relive the glory days of when that stuff was going down. So I think that'll conclude our wish list. Any other options, other wishes or hopes for the EA college football game that is hopefully coming out this summer?
Also, I mean, it's a wish list, but we could have said things like we talked about the mascots. That's obviously going to be in the game.
Mascot mode, yeah.
That'll be in the game. So some things that we have already confirmed, like we didn't have on this list. It'd be cool to have like some like transfer announcement thing. You saw on Hayes.
Yeah,
Fawcett's,
Hayes Fawcett's Instagram said, that would
be cool fun. Like commitment. That'd be cool, but also just make the game fun. Yeah. Don't make it repetitive. I think that's a big thing. I
got faith that they're going to come out with a fire game, and that's what I'm hoping for. So that'll do it for the EA College Football wish list from the boys over here at Third and Goal. Yep. Our podcast drops every Tuesday, Wednesday morning, and we're working to get more consistent with that. But make sure to leave us a 5-star review on our podcast. And also, right here, if you finished to the end of this video, must have liked it. Like, subscribe. Make sure comment down below what you want to see in the new EA College Football game. And you can also vent and tell us how long it's been since the announcement came out compared to when we make it the game. That'll do it for this video of the Third and Goal podcast. I think that's just about it, Ben. Are we ready to get out of here?
Let's get out of here.
All right, let's get out of here again. This was the Third and Goal EA College Football Wish List video. See you, boys.